Hello, everybody. This is John coming from his music room, and I want to tell you a story. I want to tell you a story about my neighbor Bert. When you first meet Bert, the thing you notice about Bert is he's very opinionated, he's hot headed, he will tell you his opinion whether you want to hear it or not, and many times his conversation is laced with profanity. So that's how I first knew Bert. But I want to talk a little bit about Bert's wife, Cookie. Cookie worked with Judy over at Collette Park, which is right up the road. And that's where Tess went to school. And one day, Judy was over at Cookie and Bert's house talking to Cookie. And they were talking about the long drive that Judy has to take from the west side over here and how much time it takes. And Cookie, who was bigger than life, we always called her the Jewish princess. She taught Hebrew to the kids for their bar mitzvahs and bat mitzvahs. And Cookie said, Judy, the house next door is for sale. So, long story short, here we are living in the house next to Cookie and Bert. So, we're here in the house, and Bert and I have a casual relationship. We say hi. He doesn't work in our house, put some floors in. He's a very good carpenter, great metal worker. And that's the kind of relationship we had. Hi. We've been to parties at their house. But then, about 5 years ago, Cookie got cancer. And Cookie literally was just a few weeks before she died of cancer right next door. And Bert's world was devastated. It was, his love of his life had passed away in a really short amount of time. She was his rock. She was his counselor. She was his best friend. And here Bert is, just in a matter of time, everything he knew as reality was completely gone. And now we're here. It was 2020. The pandemic hits. And we all have to isolate. We're all stuck in our homes. So here I am, stuck in the home. If anybody that knows me knows that I'm a very social person. I love talking to people. I never meet a stranger. And here I am in the house. Pretty much TV is my company. I do have Judy and Tess, but that's pretty much it, except for my friend Larry, who I talk to every week. But what helped me was, Bert always is in his garage. He stays in his garage all the time. And during the good weather, he leaves his garage door open. And in his garage, he's got it insulated, and he's got music in there. He's got a TV that always has the news on. And so I started going around in the summer afternoons and talking to him. And that's when I heard Bert's story. Bert grew up in Pennsylvania, in a town not far from Nazareth, where the Martin Guitar Factory is. And he told me some interesting facts that I didn't know about him. Bert and his brother went to Woodstock. He remembers cooking breakfast on a camp stove and hearing Jimi Hendrix playing the Star Spangled Banner. And he was also, a little later, was involved in the peace movement in that eastern area of the country. And he got to know and met Abby Hoffman. Some of you probably don't know who he was, but he was a activist, a peace activist. And he was eventually put to trial in what was called the Chicago 7 in Chicago. And he also met and spent an evening with Arlo Guthrie, Woody Guthrie's son. Had a great night with him. And also, he met Jerry Garcia of the Grateful Dead. Well, as we got talking, and I got to know Bert a little bit, Bert, after Cookie's death, had great depression, great anxiety, anger issues. He lost his best friend and he didn't know what to do. So we started talking about that, and he shared with me his feelings, his ups and his downs. And you know what? We had some of the same anxiety issues and depression issues, anger issues. And so I was able to talk to Bert, and he was talking to me. And we got to share our commonalities. And that's when I realized that Bert, the person I could have written off from the very start, has slowly over the months started to become my friend. And I would go over there on the weekends or even during the week and sit out in his garage at a safe distance. And we would talk sometimes about nothing, sometimes about everything. And sometimes we cry together. Sometimes we always laugh together. We always talk about music. But if I had judged Bert by what I thought he was, I would never have gotten this friend that I cherish. So, I want to talk about the book of Matthew. The book of Matthew, Jesus is talking to some people, and they ask Jesus, "Teacher, what is the greatest commandment?" Jesus said, "To love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind. And the second greatest commandment is to love your neighbor as yourself, as much as you love yourself." And if you think about Jesus, who did Jesus minister to? He ministered to people that nobody else wanted to be around, like lepers, people that were sick, deaf people, homeless people, prostitutes, people that society had rejected. He ministered to them. But the most important thing about Jesus, he just didn't only minister to them. He got to know their story. So, if somebody in your neighborhood or in your life, there's a quirky person that just kind of, maybe you have discounted, maybe it's time to not judge that book just by the cover. Maybe it's time that we open up that book and read their story and understand them better. And maybe, if you're lucky as I am, you come up with a good friend, my friend Bert. So, I wish everybody a peaceful life, safety, and someday, maybe in the near future, we'll be able to see one another face to face. And actually maybe even shake hands or, in a really weird thing, give a hug. So, hope everybody is well. Thank you very much. Good night.